Hello everyone and welcome to another New World video. My name's Brian if you happen to be new to the channel, but if you're part of this incredible 16,002 of you guys who've hit that subscribe button, welcome in and welcome back. I cover New World here. I really feel like this is an MMORPG that blends both a little bit of the modern and a little bit of that classic MMO social open world type of gameplay that I crave and I enjoy. But this video I want to focus in on a few things. Expansion prep is the key theme to this video. What should you be doing right now in order to prepare for the expansion? And depending on where you are in the world and how you have been consuming New World, there's a lot of different options. If you're brand new, you've never purchased this game, honestly this is a great time to get in. There's no reason to wait for the expansion to drop to start playing today, and that's what a lot of this guide's going to be focusing in on. However, this is also going to be speaking to returning players. Should you step back in, or even should you step away for a little bit, give yourself a breather before the expansion drops? And that's what I hope to explore today. I do want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for the likes on the last video. If this guys, I'll put a 50 like challenge on today's guide. If you get something good from it and I earn it, be sure to join in on that like challenge, and that helps these videos within the YouTube algorithm. But enough about that. Let's talk about what you came here for. First question that normally people have been asking me is, should you get to level 60? And while it is valuable because the game is going to take place at the level 60 plus zone, if we go into the map here, you can have Brimstone, which is definitely, you want to be level 60 for here, but with First Light, which is being completely reworked for the expansion, this will be 60 plus. But no, you do not need to sprint to like craziness to get to level 60. In fact, I would still encourage you, based off of how much time from the time you watch this to the time the expansion drops, is that yes, you will get to 60. It will happen, but the things that they're adding in is just going to make that a little bit easier for you. But there's other things I want you to work on and to level, and let's actually focus in on those first and foremost. Now, I'm going to focus the question to your faction. Now, if you said you need to hit 60, I would say actually it's better to focus in on your faction and your faction rank. With the expansion, the ranking will actually go up to 6. We'll have a new tier which opens up so many options for you. So there's two things I really want you to farm here: faction rep and your faction tokens. You can do this, especially every day. You can take on these bonus missions, and depending on your level, which leveling is important, but your faction missions will push you upwards. If you feel like double dipping in as many options as possible, pick up the PvP faction missions. You can see here they give you a whopping bonus on those faction tokens. You also get faction rep, and you're going to get experience, which is going to help you in your leveling anyhow. Doing your faction stuff is going to set you up for great success in Rise of the Angry Earth. But beyond the faction itself, if you do decide to step into some PvP, you don't have to, completely optional, you will have your reward track for PvP. And the more that you PvP, the more rewards that are going to be open to you. And I think this will benefit you greatly as soon as Rise drops, because we'll see more of these options and more of these things added. Now, let's take a brief note here to detour onto the activity card and onto the season pass rewards. The other thing that I think is important for you to do is your season pass rewards, not for any like power that you're going to get, but for the rewards like gypsum orbs, which you can use to craft gear with the system when it gets updated and changed. So while expertise and all of that's going away, there are some really nice things on the reward track, especially when it comes to the various different transmogs tokens. And that's also tying into what you could be doing right now, going and getting those chest runs, going and running the expeditions and getting the items and stuff like that, so that you can take advantage of the transmog as well as the weapon XP boosters, the different boosters that they have available to you. Whether you're on the free or the premium track, you have access to that. You can see here I have really slacked off this season. It really hasn't, it's been a really good summer for playing a lot of other games, and I always like to take breaks so that way I never truly burn out. That's why you'll end up hearing me talk about this game and other games relatively in a positive way outside of a few handful of things. And so if you are able to work on that premium track, be sure to do so. That's going to feed you again with experience while you're playing and leveling, but also lots of things that you can break down. And that kind of gets into inventory management. I would recommend, namely because the gear in and of itself is changing, you might really want to hold on to this staff. But umbral shards, all of this stuff is going away. I say just go ahead and get rid of it. Clean yourself up. If you need to, you can always lock and hold on to items. You can do that by holding the L key. And you can lock and hold on to items that you want to maybe, bring into the expansion as a part of like the best power that you have. But umbral shards aren't going to have a value. There's rumors right now that it might turn into gold. Ultimately, I'm going to farm up as much umbral shards as possible from now until then, in case that does happen, so I can have a kind of a good take on the economy. But I want to have as many of these things as available for myself so that I can take advantage of that. Now, you might be wondering, what do you do about your resources, your treasure, chests, like the various things that you get, and you want to open them up? Honestly, if you do not need gear, if you do not need that progression in the pre-expansion, go ahead and open them up now. Otherwise, wait until the expansion drops and see if you get lucky and that there's a change to it. But what we're seeing already on the PTR doesn't necessarily have me say, hey, you need to go and do that. Let's talk about weapons and weapon mastery. Overall, now, while we know expertise is going away, that doesn't mean that leveling up the weapon is a bad idea. And so right now I'm working on musket and bow, trying to get those to level 20, and that's just my personal goal. You do not need to be like me and level every weapon, but I would recommend finding a handful of weapons and getting them to at least level 10. They make adjustments to how combat works, and if you have a couple of different options, as soon as the expansion drops, maybe you're just going to go run with the flail, but think about what you could pair up with the flail, whether that's going to be the sword and shield, whether you want to go with that as a paladin build, or if you want to go healing and just really changing it up. Now, artifacts are set to completely change how this game connects and works together, but we'll be covering that in future videos, especially as we get into new builds and build guides here on the channel itself. So you've cleaned up your inventory, you've worked on your weapon mastery, you've grinded up your faction rep in this case. Let's talk about a couple other things I want you to focus in on. First, get a house, a single house, wherever you can. You just need to hit rank 1 in the territory to be able to unlock a housing option. It is fairly affordable to be able to jump into it as quickly as possible. Beyond the house itself, try to get 3. You can have up to 3 houses, and housing works really beautifully because it gives you the ability to have various trophies, and you can see what kind of buffs that you have on your character and your bio page, so you can see what trophies that you currently are rocking and rolling. While the resistance and the wards are going away, going to make your gear sets so much cleaner and easier to manage, because you're not going to have to worry about all of these different sets to get into the expeditions, and that's going to have a huge change as well. So if you feel like running expeditions now, go for it. They are getting, the story mode are going to be pretty easy to get the clears, which I think will get more people excited about them, and they're simplifying the difficulty. And with the gear simplification, note that your gear sets, I think, are going to be even more powerful when the expansion drops. So feel free to create a few of your gear sets, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. But you still actually find those banes and stuff within the trophies. So getting yourself having access to housing, that's making enough money to afford the house itself, you can end up benefiting yourself in the long run, especially when the expansion drops. And as you get into the 60s and you start getting ready to run those expeditions and you want to tap into a little bit more, you end up having a lot of value that is brought in that case. So I would highly encourage housing. But it's not just about that. Let's talk trade skills, people. So much to talk about. If you want, I'm not much of a crafter, as you can see here, but I'm a gatherer like all get out. So I do need to finish up my gathering and my refining, which I have been working on slowly but surely. Cleared up leather working. what you'll find is these are going up to 250 with the expansion. So getting anything into that 200 range would be really valuable. If you have something that's called aptitude, that's when you start to take it beyond 200, those aptitude levels will stick around once you hit that 250. So it is going to be a race. And if you've stepped into the Elysian Wilds, especially when it comes to skinning and things like that, you will need to be 205 in order to skin and take advantage of the new zone. So don't, so continue to prep on all of this. You're doing this while you're playing the game anyway, but don't sleep on this because this will be a huge benefit for you. We talked about the season pass, crafting and gathering, housing, leveling, and all of that. The other last final thing is it's going to be about your money, the coin that you have in your pocket. Now, what I would recommend is that whenever there is a time where a lot of people come and play the game, you're going to see this happening right now from the pre-expansion players, but also once the expansion drops, a lot of people are going to be checking out the game, seeing what's all changed for themselves, deciding whether they want to return or not. And chances are they're sitting on a lot of coin. If you've broken down your materials, you're going to have lots of things to be able to boost yourself up as quickly as possible as soon as the expansion drops. But materials themselves, I would recommend farming those up because there's going to be an increased demand. You can try to play the markets themselves and guess on what's going to have the best value and not. But again, all markets work off of the supply demand curve. You're going to be in a good position, especially as you work on that crafting and gathering, to be able to have material that you can put up for sale so that people coming back can go and purchase it. And they will, because they're going to want to check out the new stuff. They're going to be excited. And those are really good times where you can make a lot of money in this game and really truly capitalize on it. And because money is power, you can purchase awesome stuff, and the new crafting stuff is going to be pretty sweet. Having enough coin in your pocket should be a huge help to you as well. But that's what I've got for you. That's the advice that I can give you as you step into the new game, into this new world, and into the future of what is to come, as there's still plenty more to come even after the expansion drops. And I'll be sure to give it all here for you, my coverage, the guides, and hopefully get you good information into your YouTube feed, at least every now and then. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. But until then, take care.